There is a version of effort that builds a man, and there is a version of effort that slowly erases him. Most people live inside the second and never learn why. They wake up tired before the day has even begun, not from labor, not from struggle, but from repetition that leads nowhere. The Greeks warned us about this fate long before modern life gave it new names. They did not explain it with advice, they carved it into myth. They called him Sisyphus. He wakes before the sun, not because he is disciplined, but because his mind will not rest. His days are full. Work, responsibilities, endless small obligations. From the outside, nothing is broken. From the inside, something is quietly dissolving. He tells himself the same story every morning. Just get through this week. Just endure a little longer. Just wait until things change. But nothing ever does. Look carefully at him. The lawyer who makes $200,000 a year, but dies a little inside at every case. The artist who paints only what sells, never what calls to him. The student who walks a path chosen by others, waiting for permission to stop. They are everywhere, busy, relentless, constantly moving, and deeply empty. Plato would not have called these people weak. He would have called them misaligned. In Greek philosophy, exhaustion is rarely physical. It is what happens when the soul pushes in the wrong direction for too long. And this man does not yet realize it, but he is already pushing a stone uphill. The Greeks did not tell myths to entertain. They told them to expose. Sisyphus was not chosen because he was powerless. He was chosen because he was clever. Too clever. He was a king, founder of Corinth, a man who believed he could outsmart the gods themselves. And for a while, he did. When death came for him, Sisyphus smiled. He asked Thanatos, the god of death, to demonstrate how the chains worked, how they bound a soul. Death, flattered by the question, obliged, and Sisyphus locked him in the chains instead. For years, no one died. The world became strange. Warriors fought but did not fall. The sick lingered but did not pass. The natural order collapsed, until the gods realized what had happened. They freed death, and Sisyphus was taken to the underworld. But even then, he was not finished. He told his wife not to perform the proper burial rites, and from Hades he complained to Persephone. "My wife dishonors me. Let me return to scold her. I will come back, I swear." She believed him. He returned to the world of the living, and he never went back. He lived for years, laughing at the gods, manipulating kings, living entirely in appearances, in shortcuts, in outcomes. Plato would later describe this condition with terrifying precision. A man chained inside a cave, mistaking shadows for reality. So when Sisyphus finally died, truly died, the gods gave him a task perfectly suited to his soul. A task that required strength, endurance, persistence, but offered no transformation. A boulder, a mountain, and eternity. Push the stone to the summit. Watch it roll back down. Push again, forever. The stone was heavy. The climb was long, and nothing inside him changed. That was the punishment. Modern minds misunderstand this myth. They see cruelty. They see injustice. The Greeks saw diagnosis. They understood something we have forgotten. Effort is not what forms a man. Direction is. Psychology now echoes this ancient truth. Effort without meaning produces resentment, burnout, depression. The nervous system does not rebel against difficulty. It rebels against futility. Sisyphus was not crushed by the weight of the stone. He was crushed by what the stone failed to teach him. Repetition fills modern lives. Emails, meetings, habits that begin and end without impact. They confuse motion with progress, effort with growth. Plato warned against this confusion. He divided reality vertically. At the bottom, appetite, impulse, distraction. Above it, discipline, reason, form. At the summit, the good. Effort aimed downward exhausts the body and starves the soul. Effort aimed upward disciplines the body and shapes the soul. The action may look identical. The result is not. Two men push the same stone. One becomes bitter. The other becomes precise. One repeats blindly. The other ascends invisibly. Sisyphus climbs, and climbs, and climbs. But his mind remains horizontal. Each descent erases the previous effort. Each ascent teaches him nothing new. Plato would say Sisyphus never left the cave. He only rearranged the shadows. This is the modern tragedy. Not suffering, but suffering without ascent. This is why Greek education was severe, why training was repetitive, why philosophy demanded discipline, not for productivity, for orientation. The Greeks accepted repetition as inevitable. What they refused was meaningless repetition. That was hell. Modern culture teaches negotiation with effort. If I work hard, what do I get? When does this end? Where is the reward? Greek philosophy asked a harsher question. Who am I becoming through this? That question terrifies the modern ego, because it removes excuses. If repetition destroys you, it is not fate. It is misalignment. Plato would say most men are not oppressed by burden. They are betrayed by direction. In 1942, a French philosopher looked at this myth and saw something different. Albert Camus wrote, "One must imagine Sisyphus happy. He believed the struggle itself was enough. That rebellion against the absurd, that defiance of meaninglessness, that was freedom. Accept that life has no inherent meaning and choose to push anyway." It is a beautiful answer, and it misses something crucial. Plato would ask, happy doing what? Happy becoming what? Happy pushing without transformation. Camus gave us permission to accept the absurd. Plato demanded we transcend it. For Camus, the stone is the point. The act of pushing is the meaning. For Plato, the stone is a test. What you become while pushing is the meaning. Camus says, embrace the struggle. Plato says, aim the struggle upward. One offers acceptance, the other offers ascent. Both are true, but only one builds a soul that lasts. Here is the hidden truth inside the myth. Sisyphus's punishment only works if he resists it, if he demands relief, if he expects escape, if he believes effort should end. The philosopher does not ask when the stone disappears. He asks what the stone refines. Plato believed the soul grows by contemplating the eternal while acting inside the temporary. Repetition becomes ritual. Labor becomes initiation. The stone is no longer an enemy. It becomes an instrument. Modern psychology calls this identity-based discipline. The Greeks lived it. The brain adapts to what it rehearses. So does the soul. Sisyphus rehearsed effort without meaning. The philosopher rehearses meaning through effort. One erodes, the other crystallizes. In Greek thought, inconsistency was not a flaw. It was a fracture of identity. Water that flows only sometimes never cuts stone. Fire that flickers never tempers steel. Plato understood that discipline is not intensity, it is continuity. This is why ancient Greeks trained even when nothing was at stake, why athletes practiced without audience, why philosophers repeated questions they already understood. They were not chasing outcomes, they were forging selves. Ancient Greeks did not rely on motivation. They relied on preparation. They pre-decided who they would be. Soldiers drilled before battle. Athletes trained before competition. Philosophers disciplined desire before temptation arrived. Plato warned that the unprepared soul is always defeated in advance, by comfort, by fatigue, by pleasure. Modern life offers infinite ways to abandon identity. Stress, travel, boredom, distraction. The ancient response was mercilessly simple. Build a self that does not negotiate. So what does this mean for you? Right now, today. You have a stone. Everyone does. The question is not whether you will push it. The question is, what direction are you aiming? The executive who hates his work is pushing downward, toward money without meaning, comfort without growth. The artist who only paints commissions is pushing sideways, effort without transformation, motion without ascent. The student walking someone else's path is pushing backward, away from the self he could become. These are all forms of Sisyphean punishment, not because the work is hard, but because the work leads nowhere. Here is how you know if you are misaligned. Does your effort make you bitter? Does repetition drain you instead of sharpen you? Do you feel like you are maintaining instead of becoming? If yes, you are pushing the wrong stone, or pushing the right stone in the wrong direction. Plato offers the escape, not by removing effort, but by elevating its aim. The disciplined self is not born in comfort. It is revealed through repetition aimed upward, toward virtue, toward form, toward the good. If you follow this path, the old self dissolves quietly, the one that waited, the one that bargained, the one that blamed the stone. In its place stands something heavier, calmer, unbreakable. The climb does not end, but it no longer destroys you. Here is the truth Sisyphus never learned. The stone was never the enemy. The mountain was never the punishment. The tragedy was that nothing inside him changed. You are not Sisyphus. Not yet. Not if you understand this. The stone you push can break you, or it can forge you. The difference is direction. So here is my question for you. What stone are you pushing? And what are you becoming while you push it? Leave a comment. Tell me your stone. I want to know. If this philosophy resonates with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to Tales and Wisdom for more lessons shaped by Plato and the uncompromising path of Greek philosophy. Turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the next journey. The stone is waiting. The mountain remains. Now you finally understand why.